If you love Chevys, then this is the place for you. This is the Menards Chevy series, where we tour the country to find the finest race cars and rides that are part of the bow tie breed.
If you're in the Midwest and you want to take a cruise, you go to Route 66. But if you're in the Southeast, US 1, right through Rockingham, North Carolina, home of the Rock, Rockingham Dragway. This week, the Menards Chevy series is at the Rock with some of the coolest Chevrolets in the South. Let's check out our first producer pick. This Chevrolet 210 is owned by Ron Meso. Ron, the car stands out. The color is amazing. What is it called?
The color is a custom color. It's took some torch red and added some maroon to it and made it out into a color that I really liked. I've had it for 25 years and it started out as a total wreck, and did a complete body off restoration on it and finished it in about 2001. Well, we'd like to drive it local. I'm driving it more and more all the time just to have a lot of fun with it. When I first got it, I trailered it everywhere, but now we drive it. Local car shows, we take it out on cruise nights and things like that. I've always been in love with 55 Chevys. I had a couple of them when I was in high school, and most of the time drag raced them, but I wanted to put together one really nice, so this is it. Hopefully my grandkids will get involved in it and pass it on to them.
This next producer pick is a 1971 Impala Custom. Belongs to Christian Damgard, who came a long way to drive this car. Christian, how many cubic inches under the hood?
638.
And what does it run in the quarter mile?
It's supposed to run high nines. It runs 655 at 112 mile an hour in 8 miles, so it ought to be.
All kinds of Chevrolets speak to different people. What made you decide 71 Impala Custom, that's the car I want to race?
Well, I bought it 23 years ago to fix it up real fast, cheap, sell it to buy me a 69 Chevelle. And my plan got sideways somewhere, and people were telling me that thing's never gonna go fast and like yada yada yada. So, well, most of them can't catch it. So, plenty of cubes on the hood make about 800 foot-pounds of torque on motor alone. So, towing the trailer through the mountains, it don't care. It's just, it do 90 to 100 mile an hour. The trailer behind it, it don't care. It doesn't know it's there, so.
What about the rest of the drivetrain? What transmission and rear end?
And there's a 480E transmission in it, and there's a Moser M9 rear end in it, Danish aluminum drive shaft in it, and medical trailing arm in the rear, QA1 adjustable shocks, and box frame, small block suspension in the front, just making the front end rise faster. And it works. It picks the wheels up and let it go at the line, so it runs.
The Rock Auto Restored Award goes to Mel Ogburn from Emporia, Virginia. This beautiful Chevrolet SSR. Mel, when did you first get this car?
I bought this car about 6 years ago. I had an antique car, I had 21 years. So I sold the car and I bought it. And I've done something for it each year I had it. The engine 1 year, the bed next year, the interior the next year, and just detailing, a lot of detailing. Most of all the shows I go to, I do the display. In the indoor shows, I got a little bit better display, but I can only haul with so much at a distance by myself. The interior comes solid black from the factory, and I put a two-tone interior, got the SSR red stitching on the black, and I just wanted to bring the concept of the red and black more custom looking for the interior. There's a lot of billet stuff on the inside of the vehicle also. It's a mahogany wood floor. I got it from Butch Hockaday, and then I installed it myself. I put 8 coats of clay on it, then buffed it out, and the interior's got a lot of detailing also.
Now you've gone all out with the logos, and I can tell you're in the sign business, so using your work for your hobby.
Oh yeah, all my display stuff is I've done at my own shop, and I do a lot of custom stuff at my shop for people that got car shows, cars.
And what's it like driving down the road? What kind of feedback do you get from everybody?
Oh, I mean, I keep my eye on the road, but I'm sure people look at it a lot. You see people, go by and give you the thumbs up and all this good stuff. And I get a lot of compliments at the shows, and that's what keeps me going. I've had people come up to me, and I had this fellow look at my truck. He kept looking at it, and I kept watching him. I walked up to him, and he walked away, and he turned around and come back, and he said, this vehicle needs to be in the Smithsonian Institute. And I thought that was a heck of a compliment. And I get a lot of, people say, this ought to be in a museum. You don't drive it, and I drive it to all the shows. People don't think I drive it, but I do.
Stay with us for more of the Menards Chevy series from Rockingham Dragway, because we're going to turn our attention to some really trick trucks. We'll be right back.
This episode of Menards Chevy series is being brought to you by Dustless Blasting. It's the future of surface preparation. Custom Auto Sound, the originator of classic car OEM fit radio since 1977. B&M Racing and Performance, quality performance products that work. And by Evapo-Rust, super safe rust remover.
Welcome back to The Rock, Rockingham Dragway, and the Menards Chevy series. Our next two producer picks are going to show you a couple of gorgeous trucks, one from the 50s and this one from the 70s. What is more truck life than a 71 K5 Blazer that belongs to Steve Heath? Steve, you've won the LMC award, and this is a beautiful truck.
Thank you. We bought this truck. It was it used to be a mud truck, and we bought it out of Durham, North Carolina, and it needed a total restoration. We took all the four-wheel drive stuff off of it. I put 85 Chevrolet truck suspension under it, and all new sheet metal on it, and just 9 months of work and sweat. When I was a kid, I had over 200 model cars, and this is just a big model car to me. I've never been to any kind of college or school to do this kind of work. I just picked it up. The little kids, especially little boys, like to surfboard, and it's a unique truck. You don't see many Blazers restored in this way.
Now you have the top for it, it's just not with you today.
Yes, sir. The top's at home. It weighs about 300 pounds. It takes 4 guys to get it on and off, easily. And so it's just, it seems to show better without the top. We were going to put an LS drivetrain in the truck, and I had this motor. This is a 69 427, and we opted to put the big block in it with a 700 transmission.
And sitting up high when you're cruising down the road with the top off, it's got to be a great experience. What does that feel like?
I've never owned a convertible or drove a truck with a top off, so it feels like I'm doing something wrong. You're out in the wide open and people pull up beside you, and you're you don't have a roof or anything. It's really neat.
Now you won the LMC Truck Life Award. What parts did you get from LMC?
We ordered all the bright work, the trim on the truck from LMC. All the weather strips came from them, the tailgate, the bumpers. Some of the lenses we got from LMC, the mirrors, and a lot of the switches and knobs and stuff in the dash, stuff that was just hard to find. And they got a magazine and people there. We called and talked to a lady there, and it was easy. They're good to work with.
The DriveDuracell.com award winner here at The Rock goes to Pat and David Smith for this beautiful 1954 Chevrolet 3100. Pat, this started off with your father.
Right. He owned a 53 GMC pickup. He sold it to his cousin in Missouri. When I went there in the summer, I drove it. My grandmother lived there, and it was dedicated to her.
Basically, it was a complete frame off. Kept most of the original stuff for it, except for all the floor pans were rotted, the cowls, both sides were replaced, the cab corners and that. It's the original cab, original interior, original front end. Now it's got a Mustang 2 front end on it because we couldn't keep the straight axle on the road.
And why was it important to have a Duracell battery?
It started. After 2 months of sitting, it started with a Duracell battery in it. So that's why I went with Duracell.
Tell me about some of the details of the truck. What color is it? What do you call the color? And there's obviously a lot of little detail work that the more time you spend, the more you see.
The color is called pepper gray. It's a Ford color on a Chevy, I know. But
It's Eleanor gray.
it was really Eleanor gray from Gone in 60 Seconds, but Ford now calls it pepper gray. The details, I wanted to keep the seat, the standard bench seat. Didn't want to go with special buckets like a lot of the trucks do. And I wanted to keep the engine original. I would have liked to have kept it a stick, but right now I can't drive sticks. So we put an automatic in it, but it looks like it's a stick because it has a low car shifter in it. Yeah.
And in the bed, I notice a very special message to all the boys out there about some of the ladies in their trucks.
Silly boys, trucks are for girls. Girl power.
This next producer pick is a Z28 that is absolutely immaculate. In fact, it looks just like it did when it drove off the showroom floor. And who better to know about it than James McMillan, whose wife purchased it and drove it off the showroom floor. James, this car is a perfect time machine.
Yes, it is. This one is hard to beat. It's got the most original stuff on it.
What is the story behind the car, and how did you keep it so perfect?
Well, my wife, like I said, she bought it in '68 of May or June, and then we got married that December. So in 1972 or 3, we quit driving it. I put it in the garage. We put it on jack stand. And later on, we was raising the girls. We didn't really have the money to restore it like it should have. And so we finally researched everything, put it back like it's supposed to be. About 21 years ago, we restored this car.
What are the future plans for the car since it's been in your family for so long?
It's been in my family so long. We got it wheeled to my oldest daughter when I told you about to come home from the hospital. So me and my wife, we got it wheeled to her. It's in my wife's name now and her name. Okay, if my wife's dead, she automatically gets it. It goes to her.
The Menards Chevy series will be right back to Rockingham Dragway in a moment. And when we return, we're going to check out a nasty Nova that cleans up on the quarter mile. Stay with us. Welcome back to Rockingham Dragway and the Menards Chevy series. Race cars of all shapes and sizes love to roar at the rock. And our next producer's pick is one sweet machine from the 70s. This 1967 Chevy Nova is so striking, we had to come speak with the owner, Sean Morrison. Sean, you're in the car show, but you're also drag racing. So are you a car show guy or are you a racer?
I think I'm more of a racer guy and then a car show guy.
You put a lot of effort into this paint scheme. Candy red, tell me about the colors and who did the work.
Corker Design did the work in Pennsylvania. It starts off as a real dark black, and it comes up to a red, and it comes up to a burnt orange.
Now, when you pulled in this morning, what made you want to do car show and the race?
The guys did such a great job. I love the paint job on this car. It'd be a shame not to throw it in the car show. These guys painted the door jambs inside the car, the stripes follow inside the car. They really did over the top.
The interior is also very detailed with the anodizing. Tell us about it.
Yeah, they did all the tin and brown, and they used brass rivets for everything. It just came out. It looks really good.
The Rock, one of the coolest tracks in the South, is owned by this man, Steve Earwood. Another year, another Menards Chevy show.
It's been a great turnout and been great weather, and very thankful for it.
You have some special races going on here as well to supplement the car show.
Yeah, we put in pro mods this year, and they've really been spectacular. Lizzie Musey's been unbelievable, and Weatherly and all that group. It's been a great show, and of course, the car show is always great, the swap meet and the midway, but great drag racing as well, over 300 race cars.
Why so many cool car show cars? Last year we were here, great cars. This year, different great cars.
It's amazing the quality of cars we have. It's, you know, we're in the center of the universe for motorsports here in the Carolinas, and the car show people have followed along with the race cars in the state. We have so many fabricators in North Carolina, and they just really outdo each other with these beautiful cars.
The Minty's Top Dog Award, the best in the show. We're here with Bill Clodfelter and his beautiful 1966 Chevy 2 sedan. Bill, you've won the top dog. How long have you had this car?
I've had it about 2 years. I chased it down out of Portland, Oregon.
And what did it look like when you got it?
It was in good shape, but had been in storage quite a while, and I had to redo the car. I've basically gone through the entire car since that time, so a lot of work, but a lot of proud moments with it as well.
Most of our Minty's award winners, the underside is as clean as the top side.
We'll have lunch on it this afternoon.
Now, the big focal point of this car is the fuel injection system. It is absolutely awesome. Tell us about it.
Well, fuel injection did not have a good history with when GM had it out. They were tough to make run correctly, and they had trouble with them. So a lot of people discarded them. But since that time, there's been a lot of modifications to them. And when I got the car, I knew nothing about it. I went down and learned from a person down in Mobile, Alabama. We spent 3 days with him and basically built the entire fuel injection one piece at a time. And now I don't think they're that complicated. The car has no options on it whatsoever. It has no heater, no radio. It basically has a 4-speed to hold on to, a bench seat, and it's all just basic interior. It's a Series 100 body, which means that it has no chrome trim except the bumpers, and the car weighs 2,600 pounds the way it sits now.
This thing was designed to go. So 327, fuel injection. How much horsepower does it make at 2,600 pounds?
It's running 405 to the flywheel and 325 to the rear tires, and not much will outrun it from stoplight to stoplight on the street.
Now, I also notice you're repping the Grump, Bill Grumpy Jenkins, on the car.
Well, it's homage to Bill Grumpy Jenkins. He ran Novas, and I just have to take my hat off to him. So to the Grump.
The Minty's top dog. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you so much. Thanks to Minnie's.
There's still more Menards Chevy series to come, including this wild 2014 Corvette. Stay tuned, you won't want to miss it.
This episode of Menards Chevy series is being brought to you by LMC Truck. LMC Truck has the parts you need to keep them on the road. Z-Max, the one product for your engine, transmission, and fuel system. Stage 8, the world's best locking fastener. And by Borla, the world's most winning exhaust.
We're wrapping things up here at Menards Chevy series. Visit to Rockingham Dragway, where we've uncovered a wide variety of the best the Bowtie has to offer. Let's keep on searching. Here at The Rock, the Original Parts Group All Original Award goes to Jimmy Simmons for this awesome 1968 El Camino. Jimmy, beautiful car, but I hear it is not a favorite in your family.
It's not my wife's favorite. The day I bought it, she said it's the ugliest thing she's seen. She hadn't rode in it since 1992.
Did it look like this when you got it?
No, it was a nice car when I bought it. It was a 1980s build, and I kept it several years, and then around 2000, I tore it down and rebuilt it and started showing it.
What kind of changes did you make along the way?
We put a big block Chevy engine, put a 427 in it, put an overdrive automatic. I did a wood bed kit in it. It's ash wood, and I stained it with the base coat from the car, and then I think it's got 16 coats of clear over it with custom pinstriping in it. A lot of work in that bed, and then we did the polished stainless trim around it. The interior, it had velour bench seat in it, so that had to go after a few years. And I got seats out of a Mitsubishi and custom console, custom door panels. I tied it all in with the blue stripes on the car, and it turned out real nice.
Now, you swapped it out for a 427 big block. Tell us why.
I got no respect with a small block. With a small block, nobody takes a second look under the hood, but a big block gets their attention. It's a lot more fun to drive.
Now, what parts did you get from Original Parts Group?
Well, Original Parts Group had all the trim work, the fender moldings, the door seal moldings, rubber, all stuff is that. Everything fits great. It's a great company. I'm real proud to have all those parts on my car. They make it easy to restore when you can get all that stuff new, replace all that beat up, tore up stuff that's been all those years on the road. They're really a big help.
Now, how often do you drive the car?
I usually drive the car about 2,000 miles a year. I drive it to cruise-ins, I drive it to shows. I'll trailer it if we're going to stay overnight, keep it in, if you got somewhere to put it at night, but it's too fun not to drive it, so it gets driven quite a bit.
Now, your wife has never ridden in the car. Have you ever offered to let her drive the car?
No, that's an easy one. No, and she wouldn't drive it anyway. She wouldn't set foot in it. She's gave me 2 compliments in my whole life. She told me the wood bed looked good, and she told me the motor looked good. That's all I've ever heard. She's not a car girl. I've got a Camaro also, and she loves that, but the El Camino is just the red-headed stepchild. She won't have anything to do with that.
This next producer pick is a 1967 Chevelle SS, an original 138 car, belongs to Bob Autry. Bob, this car is cool. The vinyl roof, obviously the red interior, it really stands out.
Yes, it's all original except for the motor. It actually had a 4-barrel on it, and I don't need the horsepower, and I'm not, I don't drive like a teenager anymore, but I wanted something when I popped the hood at places like this, people would kind of say, wow, whoa. and that's set up off of a 68 Corvette. So we got the intake and the carburetor rebuilt and put them on there. It's got a M22 Muncie 4-speed, and I have a lot of fun. I, like I said, don't drive like a teenager, but I don't see why I should even shift before I get about 4,000 or 5,000 RPMs.
This 1969 Chevrolet Corvette is owned by Gary Blankenship and is a very rare car. Tell us about it, Gary.
It's a 69 Corvette, and it's a 427, 430 horse, L88. My dad bought the car new, parked it in '79, and it laid in the yard until I retired in 2010. And I drug it in the shed and started working on it and built it back for him. It's all hand built, complete body off restoration, every wire, nut, bolt, screw. It's brand new. I built it for him, and he got to drive it for a year, and he passed away. And at 80 years old, he was still the fastest guy in Lexington. It's still his car.
This 2014 Corvette is owned by Ronald King, and he has done everything to it. This is out of control. Ronald, tell us about your car.
Well, this is a one-of-one Chameleon Vet. It is a 2014 model, C7.
What made you decide you wanted Lamborghini doors, the color, all of these features that make it one of one?
I say, well, I'm going to get a car that no one has. I'm going to get it built like no one else can get it built, and therefore you have the only Chameleon Vet in the world. It changes from Carolina blue to seafoam green to actually aqua blue, and it's depending on the light. Late in the evening, it turns an aqua color. In the brightest of light, it changes from Carolina blue to seafoam green. Going down the street, when it changes to 3 different colors distinctly, to see the eyes of those people that see it when it actually does the flip.
Well, that tops off this ride to the Rock for the Menards Chevy Series, but keep an eye out for when the series visits a track near you. It's a guaranteed great time. Next week, we'll be rumbling into Bristol Dragway's Thunder Valley. See you then.